Hello and good morning.
Willkommen.
Willkommen.
The Avenue.
The Avenue. Welcome and good morning.
Welcome and good morning.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha e como mai.
Ilaila, uaila, no malahini ohana. Welcome family, e como mai. Aloha e como mai.
When you're down, you're feeling low, got nobody by your side. It can be lonely and you want to only find a place that you can hide. Just lay back, you'll fit right in. You can make it all come true, 'cause there's always hope inside, and hope will see you through. Aloha.
Chihuahua.
This is the place where you belong.
Ohana means family.
A family to call your own.
When you feel at home.
Everybody sing.
Ilaila, uaila, no malahini ohana. Welcome family, e como mai. Aloha e como mai.
Makamaka.
Now you can see through your eyes nothing but these clear blue skies. Love it has found you, and when it surrounds you, it's just like paradise. Now the door is wide open. Now your heart has taken wing. Feel the magic in the air and hear your spirit sing. Aloha.
This is the place where you belong.
Ohana.
A family to call your own.
When you feel at home. When you feel at home.
Iki baba.
Ilaila, uaila, no malahini ohana. Welcome family, e como mai. Aloha e como mai. Aloha e como mai. Aloha e como mai.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Hey, como mai. We're so happy you decided to join us here at Unity Church of Hawaii. We ask now that you please stand and let it rise. Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the praises that we sing rise among us. Let it rise. Let it rise. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the joy of our being rise among us. Let it rise. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise. Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the praises that we sing rise among us. Let it rise. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise.
of our God rise among us. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the joy of our being rise among us. Let it rise. Let it rise. Here we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it rise. Make this a deep one. Whoa, 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 whoa,
Yes, indeedy. And in this time, let the peace of our God rise among us. Let peace rise and become peace on earth. Hey, komamai. Welcome to Unity Church of Hawaii, where we are transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. Our co-founders, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, both had extraordinary healing experiences through the power of affirmative prayer. If you're wondering a little bit about Unity, Unity has 5 very fundamental principles. Number 1 is, God is. There's only one presence and power, and that is God the good. Number 2, I am. Being created in the image and likeness of God the good, we are therefore inherently good and one with all that is. Think it. Folks, whether you like it or not, we are responsible for our life experience. Friends, life doesn't happen to us. It happens through us. Life happens through us. And what we think will become what we experience. The thoughts of today will more than likely, I will guarantee you, become an experience sometime tomorrow. So if you want to change your life, change your thinking. Prayer and meditation. Unity firmly believes in a daily practice of prayer and meditation. It is in the time of prayer that we commune with God. And then in the stillness of meditation, we get guidance on how to bring truth into expression. And folks, that leads us to number 5, which is the most important principle. Live it. Friends, if we're just thinking these principles and speaking them, we're just taking up space. We have to discover truth for ourselves, then step into that truth and live it. You give a minister a microphone, you never know what's going to happen. But we must live truth. Not just know it to be, but we must bring it into expression to bring heaven to earth so that we can live the abundant life that we are to live as the beloved of God. Live truth as you know it to be, and you will live the abundant life. In a cool way, us Unitarians like to gain a greater understanding of truth is by the use of affirmations and denials. An affirmation is a statement of truth. A denial is a letting go statement. So I'm going to ask you. We're going to do it in a really neat way. Uncle Charlie, as I like to call Charles Fillmore, said that we should deny things like we're moving away cobwebs gently. But when we affirm the truth, we affirm the truth. So we're going to deny first. I'm going to ask you to deny in a nice, gentle voice. And then when we do affirmation, let's belt it out so they hear it around the world, okay? So here we go. Repeat after me if you will. I am divine. I gently let go of what is no longer serving me. You ready? And I boldly claim my good now. Take a breath into that. How's that feel? Oh, we are awash in blessings of great good. Look around you. They're in the room. And speaking of in the room, Charles Fillmore also said that our pure essence of being is love. So I think we should put this action thing into practice right now. So if you would be so kind, if you would stand as you are able and have the love that is you, greet the love that is all around you. So please stand as you are able and greet one another in love.
As you make your way back to your seat, the song we're about to sing is a very powerful affirmation. And it's really important for us to have all of your voices singing along with us. So as you make your way back, we're going to sing Aloha Is. Everybody ready to sing? Here we go. All of your voices.
The sun will shine again, bringing fresh hopes and dreams. With each new day that begins, aloha is the sunlight shining through the darkness, giving strength to all we do. Aloha is God's grace, walking in the sunlight, feeling the beauty of life, feeling the beauty of life. Aloha is God's helping hand, warm and comforting voice. Let God's peace be with you in all we do. Aloha is the mind, the heart in perfect harmony. It's tenderness and love, deep in the heart of Hawaii. Aloha is Hawaii. Hawaii is aloha. Hawaii is aloha. Yahweh, I love you. Hawaii is aloha. Yahweh, I
All right, everyone. Woo! What a day. It's a little bit hot, but that's okay. We are living in the beautiful land of Hawaii. So, yes, it is beautiful. And so we're just take it as it is. And thank you for coming and joining with us today here at Unity Church of Hawaii. How are you feeling? Besides a little bit warm. All right, we got fans for everybody if you need a fan. But yeah, it's a fabulous day, as I hear Doug saying. And thank you for saying yes to this community today. And while you were meeting and greeting one another, you may have met somebody you haven't seen before or somebody who hasn't been here in a long time. So if this is your first time here at Unity Church of Hawaii or your first time in a long time, then we invite you to rise to stand so that we may meet and greet you and give you gifts of aloha. So there you go. So what the ushers are bringing to you first is the kukui nut lei, which represents the light, the love of these Aloha Islands and of this spiritual community. And second, you'll be receiving a welcome packet, which will have a voucher inside of it for a free breakfast. And we just invite you to remain standing. So you have a free breakfast voucher. So after today's service, just go down the stairs through Connection Central to our kitchen, and you can use that voucher for your free breakfast. And then we have another gift. It's a blessing from our heart to yours. So friends, let us all bless our new friends together. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. And well indeed. Thank you so much for saying yes to this community. You may have a seat. And this is our reminder with those people with the kukui nut lei on, please invite them while you're enjoying your breakfast down past Connection Central, and tell them all about this transformative community and what a blessing it has been in your life. And we also have people live streaming us from all around the world today. So let us give a shaka to our friends from all around the world. They're streaming in from Australia, Japan, Germany, Atlanta, Washington, and everywhere in between. I believe Reverend Denise and Reverend Larry are streaming in as well. So aloha and mahalo for joining us. We appreciate your continued support to this spiritual community. We feel your love and your presence with us today. And today I will be joined on platform by the beautiful, the glorious Reverend Levitt Thomas. Woohoo! That's right. And our guest speaker today is Kumu Ramsay Taum. Thank you so much for saying yes to this community. And you will hear his message of aloha in a bit. And today is also the first Sunday in August. And so if you were born in the month of August, we invite you to stand because we have a song that we would love to sing to you. So any August babies out there you go.
Oh, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Hallelujah.
Yes. All right, August babies, you represent the power, spiritual power of will. So be strong this month and listen to the inner voice and guidance within. And I think that we have some announcements, Reverend Levitt. What's the good news?
We got some good news. Everybody got a bulletin. Friends, this is your roadmap to all the treasures of Unity Church of Hawaii. Keep it handy. There'll be a pop quiz later. There's an SEE class that started yesterday with Reverend Gio Downer. It's Bible Overview, Hebrew Scriptures. Really cool class. It will go on a bunch of Saturdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Please call the number in your bulletin for the location of that class. That's Hebrew Scriptures, Bible Overview with Reverend Gio Downer. This Wednesday coming up on the 7th. It's just Wednesday the 7th. I am date challenged. Thank you very much. Reverend Denise will be leading the Wednesday night prayer meditation healing service, so don't miss that. The Compassionate Communication Circle will be meeting every second Tuesday of the month. The next meeting is the 13th down in the Garden Room from 6 to 8 p.m. That is the continuation of the NVC practice group. So please, if you want to learn about nonviolent communication, come to that. It's awesome. The book studies, Eye of the Storm, are going well. If you have not in the book study, please get the book, Eye of the Storm, by Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons. It will change your life. Ask anyone put your hands up if you've taken the class, you're in a book study. Folks, go ask these people. I'll tell you what, it will change your life. It's extraordinary work. I think that's it for. We have one very special announcement. Kumu Ramsay is going to have a couple workshops and some classes. So to get more information about that, please go to ramsaytaum.com. That's ramsaytaum.com. That was my AM radio voice. Because some people have said I have a radio face. I don't think so, but anyways. Okay, now we'd like to start off with saying our statement of faith together, if you would, please. Let's speak this statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, the living, loving presence of God. Indeed. Now, with that statement of faith secure in our minds and in our hearts, I invite you now to settle in for meditation. Getting comfortable in your chair? Oh, that's right. You can get comfortable, though.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for one like me. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for one like me. And there's quite enough love and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For Spirit, Holy Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all of us. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all of us. And there's quite enough love and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For Spirit, Holy Spirit, is in this very room.
And now we will have a time of meditation. So I invite you now to get comfortable in your chair. Put aside any physical items you might have brought with you. And also going to invite you to put aside any concerns you may have. Put that all to the side. If you so desire, close your outer eyes or dim your gaze and let's breathe. For it is the breath that takes us home. Home to where we, God, and love are one. And home. Home is always a breath away. Looking around the world today, I invoke us to call forth peace, the peace that passes all understanding. To have that peace come forth and be us, so that we may be peace. And we can bring this peace forth when we see with the eyes of love. When we look out from within, look out from our divine essence and behold the beauty of the divine essence in all people. Then we can bring peace. We can bring peace on earth. With this now, let us take a few moments in the stillness. Now with a gentle breath, we bring our attention back to this time and place, overflowing with great appreciation, knowing that when we see with the eyes of love, we bring peace up in us, through us, as us. And we can, and we will create peace on earth. And so it is.
And now together, let us recite the Aramaic Lord's Prayer together. Father, Mother, Birther, and Breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then acts through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us physical and spiritual nourishment each day. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. Age to age, from you comes the glorious harmony of life. May these statements be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen and amen.
This very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough love and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus is in this very room.
Life can be a challenge. Life can seem impossible. It's never easy when so much is on the line. But you can make a difference with courage. You can set things right. The gift to dream and make dreams real. It's yours, it's mine. The power of one begins with believing. It starts in the heart and flows through the soul and changes the world. Imagine how life could be if we stand in unity. Everyone holds the key to the power of one. Each of us is chosen. There's a mission just for you. Just look inside, you'll be surprised what you can do. The power of one begins with believing. It starts in the heart and flows through the soul and changes the world. Imagine how life would be if we stand in unity. Each of us holds the key to the power of one, and one by one we unity. Each of us holds the key. It's inside of you and me. Each of us holds the key to the power of one.
Wow. I don't know, I got chicken skin on that one. How about you guys? Oh, how about another hand for a guy? Wow. He just embodied that song, right? The power of one. Man, that was amazing. Aloha. Aloha, you make it aloha. Aloha, my. Thank you for having me back. Joanna, thank you for inviting me. Good to see you all. It's been a while, but before I start, I'd like to say mahalo. Thank to all of you and the family at Unity for keeping my family and I in your prayers of the last year since I've been here. I tell you, prayer really works, and God is good. And thank you for all of that. And from my family to you and your families, mahalo and aloha to you. Yeah, thank you. I also want to give a shout out to Alethea over here because I tell you what, we never talk on the phone, but every time we get together and I speak, she comes up with the music, which is like right on. It's just spot on. In fact, thank you. It's like definitely the spirit's moving because the song you did earlier, Aloha was a big inspiration for me. In fact, some of the things I'm sharing with you today. In fact, I'm going to mention her again, Auntie Pilahi Vaki, because that song was written by her. It was music by Jay Laren. He wrote the music. And, of course, Brother Mo, Keale did the song. So mahalo to them. But you'll see in a few minutes when I start the presentation. But, Joanna, thank you again for inviting me. A couple weeks ago, I got the privilege of speaking at Happiness U. And they asked me to speak about Aloha. And really the way of Aloha. And it's quite timely given some of the things that are going on around us in the world. Not just here in Hawaii, but our country and elsewhere, where it seems to be some challenges. Some of us may be doing things that may not be in proper alignment, right? And so the way of Aloha is really about that. But let me start with this. Let me get my big head out of the way. Yeah, see there. Do you recognize that guy? Yeah, let me see this here. Ta-da, see, yeah. Yeah, it's not a shadow, it was the intention, right? But the way of Aloha, to live Aloha, be Aloha, and share Aloha, because actually that was one of the deepest messages, that Auntie Pilahi had to share with those of us that were fortunate to spend time with her. And so this morning I will be edifying some of those things. But what's important about this image is that this was taken on the morning of the summer solstice, just passed. And the longest day, they say. But it was also a time when it showed us that regardless of how dark you may think it is, the sun will rise again. And I'll tell you, when I was sitting on that beach or standing on the beach with some of my students, it was just a reminder, right? That sometimes you can just look behind that shadow, look behind that cloud, and there's light. The reminder is that light comes from within. The darkness is really the absence of light. And the absence of Aloha can create darkness. And so the opportunity for us is to bring Aloha with us wherever we go. And so, Joanna, mahalo for us for allowing me to be here. But so, like I said in the song, Aloha this is the second verse of the song. And as I stood there looking at this, I was reminded by what Auntie Pilahi had to say. Aloha is the sunlight shining through the darkness, giving us strength in all that we do. And it's such a powerful thing because prior to her transition in 1985, she and I sat and she was concerned that someday we would lose Aloha. Not from the fact that we're using it. It would be used, but she was concerned that its meaning, its depth, its spiritual concepts would be lost because we've commercialized it. We've commodified it. We've done all these other things to Aloha. And it was then that I suggested to her that I'd made my promise. In the song, The Promise of Aloha, I promised her that I would do whatever I could do to continue to advocate and share aloha and the concepts and training that she provided all of us. So thank you again for allowing me to continue and live up to that promise. You know? And so Pilai's words were impactful. They really kind of reached deep down for me inside because they were really words that spoke about principle. Now, I understand you're going through some reading right now and some concepts, and I was told that principle happens to be one of them. So I think there's a good alignment here. But aloha as a principle and not just a value. But the principle that is given to us and guided by the principal, right? When you get called to the principal's office, hopefully you're living by your principles. Otherwise, you'll find out what happens, right? But the principle of aloha is what's key to this. And I say that because today it's too often and too easy to get lost by following personalities, where personalities begin to guide our decision making. And we begin to follow personalities and practices that are outside of ourselves rather than living by principle. And I'd like to suggest that when we live by our principles, our practices also follow in a positive way. I think many of us can think of a personality that may be driving much of our conversation, many of our practices, and some of us are having difficulty finding the balance between the personalities and the principles. But I would suggest, as Auntie Pillai said, to look within to find aloha, to live by that principle of aloha at all times, regardless of what's going on outside of us, those externalities. Because aloha is more than what's outside. It's more than a greeting. You know, we come to the islands, and oftentimes you go to some of our authentic commercial luau's. Explain that to the next guy. Or you get on one of the buses and we welcome our visitors. Of course, aloha is the word, but we tend to go, aloha, right? And what is everyone supposed to do? Yeah, it's like when I was driving through the West, you know, going through the plains, and I see the cows, and we all roll the window down and go, moo. And the cows look at us like, what? We're supposed to go moo back. And yet we do it, right? But it's interesting because aloha is more than just that greeting. In fact, when was the last time you answered your phone like this? Hello? Goodbye. No, why do we do that to aloha, right? Because aloha is really a much deeper thing, right? It is the spirit and the giving, or the spirit and the science of giving and receiving, not taking. You give and you receive, just like breathing. The concept of ha. Everyone take a deep breath. Hold it, hold it. Now you can have it. I don't want it. See, eventually you got to give it back, right? You can't take it with you. Now we say, I will take a breath. But the reality is you can't take it anywhere, right? You receive it and you give it back. The foundation of aloha. It's about giving and receiving. When you're in that flow, life happens. It's when you hold on to stuff and you don't let it go. That's when you get tight. That's when things start to break down. And so aloha is that. It's to give and not expect anything in return. To give freely. Remember that when you have something, you have the opportunity to give back. That's not always. But when you find yourself in a position when someone else is in need, it's not always waiting for it to be asked, but to see the opportunity to extend oneself. This notion of extension. Expand others and you expand. Extend yourself and we all extend. This is aloha, the way of aloha, the way of being. And so I'd like to suggest that there are two faces of aloha, the concepts of giving and receiving. Everyone say aloha aku. Yeah, aloha aku is the aloha that's moving away from. Aku is going that way, right? Hele aku, let's go. Outside the door, right? Everyone say aloha mai. Yeah, so that's aloha that's coming in. So there's aloha aku and aloha mai. It goes out and it comes in. Interesting enough, the ocean does the same thing. It goes out and comes in. The wind goes, it comes back. In fact, it's so warm in here, let's stagger the breathing. All right? You guys breathe first, you breathe second, and the wind will come right through the window. Right? See, we're all in alignment with nature. Right? But it is about giving and receiving. And so aloha aku, aloha mai, but these two faces, in order for them to be whole, must come together, right? So the reminder is that aloha is about making people whole, leaving places better than when we found them, leaving others better than we find them. And when we come nose to nose, heart to heart, mind to mind, we're saying to one another, when I say aloha, it's a commitment. It's a commitment to you. It's a commitment to those around us. It says that your air is my air. My air is your air. And if I damage your air, I damage my air. And therefore, it doesn't help me to damage your air. Right? If I want to be whole, make you whole, that makes us whole. That's a community. That's unity. That's working together, right? It says that when I'm this close, that's trust. To be in the face of someone else, in the heart to heart, mind to mind, right? Arm to arm. That is the spirit of aloha. Imagine if we could all live that way. To have that level of trust that when we say that to one another, I know what you mean and I mean what you say, right? Now, if you can't say aloha with that kind of commitment, just say hi. Because there's no commitment in hi. It's like, how's it? How are you? How you doing? See you later. But when you say aloha, ooh, watch out. Because aloha is a commitment, right? It's a deep commitment to protect, preserve, and honor those that are with us. Because there's mana. There's energy in aloha. There's energy in our words. Energy in our thoughts. Auntie Pelahi would say, the seeds of thought are watered by the emotions of heart. And so be careful, for when you speak, those words are given life on the life-giving breath of Ha that leaves your lungs and crosses the pathway of your teeth. And whatever comes out is manifested in the world around us, and you can't bring it back. So guard your thoughts, guard your emotions, but by all means, guard your words and your behaviors. That is what aloha is. And if you're always operating with aloha, then hopefully those seeds of thought and those of water, the water and emotions of heart are always pure and they're always clean. So the mana of aloha. Mana is also about balance. In fact, some of you may remember, those that have been here, but for those that weren't, do this with me. Put your left hand out, please, and say ma. Ma is passive, soft, feminine, inside. It's the minus sign on the battery, if you would. All right? Right hand out and say na. Na is masculine, positive, active. It moves out. Na goes out, ma comes in. Na stands up, ma sits down. Does that make sense? Everybody go ma. Na, put it together. Mana. Yeah? And that mana, that balancing of plus and minus, up and down, in and out, soft and hard, it's all of those things. So one clap, everybody go mana. Two clap, 2, 3. Keep it going. Let's make some mana. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're just so kind. Mahalo, mahalo. Yeah, that mana, it's a powerful thing. But mana, I just concept these opposite energies, right? Not so much that they're wrong or right, but they work together in harmony. As in the song Aloha is harmony. And how do you find harmony? This is when you're vibrating at all these levels. It isn't about pushing too much ma or too much na. It's about finding a balance, kind of like a tire. It needs to be soft enough to roll, but hard enough to hold the car up, right? Enough pressure on the inside, but enough to be resilient and responsive. That's aloha. Too much, blow up the tire. Not enough, flat bugger. Not going anywhere, right? But it's finding that right balance between the plus and the minus, the in and the out. That's aloha. And when we talk about balance, we're saying that balance of what? As I said earlier, some of us are having difficulty finding balance in a world of uncertainty, it seems. And oftentimes it's because we're looking outside of ourselves for that certainty, whatever it is. But when we have that internal compass, something we can look internal into, and then it doesn't matter where we are because we can't be lost, because we have a source that we can look to, something that is constant within us. And I like to suggest that is aloha, right? But it is also suggesting that it's understanding the balance, the alignment between head and heart. In our song, again, we talk about the unity of mind and heart, mind and spirit. Auntie Pelahi was on it, wasn't she? I mean, she really had it, right? Because, I think today we are finding ourselves really in this disconnection between the head, a lot of thinking going on, but not so much feeling when we think about this. And then there's a lot of feeling going on without so much thinking. And all of a sudden we have a war of emotions and thoughts, when in reality they have to work together, right? There's an alignment between head and heart. In fact, right now, some of us are experiencing this thing called kapu aloha. Everyone say kapu aloha. Yeah, kapu is really the kapu. It's like the law, the way of being. It is the way, if you would, of what? Of aloha. It says respect. Kapu is respect. Honor. Do these things. Behave this way. That is the way of aloha. And one of the things that has brought that to the surface is that on a mountain somewhere, we have this conflict going on. Not just on the mountain, but it's happening in our communities. It's happening on our continents. It's happening everywhere. It just happens to be alive and well right in front of us. So what I'd like to suggest is that while I looked at it, I had some friends from the continent, the mainland. They call me, Ramsay, what do you think about this? And I said, well, this is how I feel about it. You hear the difference? Have you ever asked somebody, what do you think? They say, well, how do you feel? Then go, let me think about that. No, I ask you how you feel. Let me think about that. And so there's an interesting dichotomy there. We kind of get lost in that. I'd like to suggest what I've seen without picking sides, but recognizing that I think what's going on in the world around us is that you have a brain asking the heart to feel. And then you have a heart asking the brain to feel. I said the brain asking the heart to think, right? And the heart asking the brain to feel. These are two things those organs don't do, right? They don't do that very well. That's why they need one another. There needs to be a better alignment in the same way that this is aligned. But unfortunately, we live in a world that looks at it mind over matter. Just the diagram itself puts the brain over the heart. I'm better than you because I'm higher than you. Yeah? This order, maybe that is out of order. In fact, I know that I get alignment when I lie down. So you lie down, the head and the heart, even, same kind, right? So every time you're out of sync, lie down. Everything goes with me. Perfect alignment. Right? I think that's why we sleep lying down, not standing up. Right? But the object is, how do we find alignment? I like to offer, and not to say that there aren't issues, there are a number of issues, but to unpack all of them, I'd like to suggest that maybe it's just an alignment issue. And maybe when we start realigning things and actually begin to understand where our issues are coming from. For instance, I would suggest that most of us here are the products of or used practices that were born out of this age, the industrial age. Would you be saying that's safe to say? Yeah? We're products. Now, we got all kinds of stuff, cell phones, but it's still products of an industrial age and a way of being. Now, as a result of the industrial age, when we see a problem, and what do we do when we see a problem? What do we want to do? Very good. That's the word, fix, right? We want to fix it. And who is going to fix our problem? What do we call those guys? Mechanics. Okay? Yeah. So we live in a world with problems, and we tend to make a mechanical decision or mechanical fix for whatever it is. Even the things that feel bad, we look for a mechanical response. That's kind of interesting, right? I'd like to suggest that we're kind of now in that point where we're transitioning from an industrial age to a spiritual age, right? Now, in a spiritual age, when we have a spiritual issue or a spiritual problem, is it likely that a mechanical or mechanic or a mechanical fix will find a solution? Now, perhaps the spiritual age says, let's look for some meaning rather than mechanics. And maybe we can start looking for healing rather than fixing. What's going on around us isn't going to get to the next place by more mechanics looking to fix things. Ho'oponopono, as many of you have heard, is the concept of making things right, not fixing old things, but creating new conditions. What's the new condition that allows us to be? And I'd like to suggest the fuel for that new condition is aloha. The way of aloha. As Auntie Pillai said, one day the world will come and look to Hawaii for healing. And that healing is going to come from aloha. And so I think that's where we are. And so we're having an opportunity to share and learn about these things. So the way of aloha then is really about that. The way of aloha, it's the way of being. The way of being, of behaving. I have the fortune of speaking to different people in different places. And oftentimes they come up to me after and says, we kind of want that. We want what you're talking about. I said, and what is that? And after talking, I sense this longing. Their definition is that they're longing to be longing. They're longing to be somebody. They're longing to be part of something greater themselves. They want to belong. And unfortunately, in the world of mechanics, we're looking for belongings in order to give us belonging, right? Whatever phone, whatever car, whatever it gives us membership to something that perhaps we lost. And we are looking to the mechanical, the external things to provide us with some comfort internally. Aloha is the way of behaving internally. It says that we don't think ourselves into new ways of behaving, but it says we behave ourselves into new ways of thinking. In other words, as it was said earlier, to act with aloha, not just think with aloha. A lot of us think about it, but very few of us actually act on it. I can think about going to church today, but I can get up and actually go. There's a difference, all right? To think it versus acting. In fact, let me go back. This brother here is sitting on the shore with his net and going, oh, that's a big fish. I think if I catch them, I can eat them. And I think if I catch plenty, I can feed my family. I think I've been here a long time. I better go home. And so all the thinking he's done caught him 0 fish. But it wasn't until this brother cast his net and threw it, he took some act. He stopped thinking a long time ago. At some point in time, we have to act. And in the act of doing things, we begin to start the process. It is action. Aloha is action. Aloha is behaving a certain way. But really to understand, I call upon Auntie Pilahi again. So this is what she was telling us back then. The way of aloha. Before you can have aloha, you must do aloha. You must show it. You must act somehow. All right? Before you can be aloha, you must choose it. Now, interesting enough, there are a lot of people in the world who don't have a sense of choice. They feel like they don't have any choices. They're required to do certain things. How do we support that? How do we find out that we are deserving enough to make these choices for ourselves rather than other people making the choices for us? Because when we don't do that, aren't we really inviting victimhood? When we rely on other people to do stuff for us or change? For us, some of you have done this with me, but for those of you who haven't, join in. Say this after me. What is it about me that allows me to see in you what bugs me? About you. Think about that. All right? What is it about me that allows me to see in you what bugs me about you? Now do that like this. What we're really saying is, what is it about me? What have I brought to a situation that is experiencing the sounds, the sights, the smells, the people around me that causes me to react the way I do? Whether it's fear, anxiety, run or hide, whatever. What is it about me? Because the next guy next to me is not acting the same way, right? He's not reacting to this stuff in the same way I am. So is it really about that or is it really about me? When we are all operating from aloha, I think things begin to shift. It's a very different thing. As Guy reminded us, the power of one when we start looking at it. In fact, let's do this. Everyone say this with me. I am, and then your first name. Ready? Go. One more time. Yeah, see, interesting. When we're all I am, everything's in unison. Once we throw in the name, kapakahi. Right? One more time. Yeah. Yeah. See, once the personalities come out, all of a sudden the room just goes, ah. But when we're focused on I am, now I can talk eye to eye, not Ralph to Ramsay. Right? So it's when we find that unison, that unity and harmonizing of the I am in each of us, all of a sudden the aloha begins to flow. It's when the personalities take over. That's when we have pilikia. Right? So the object is, how do we move to that point? But before you can have the power to choose, you must know the source of power, be the source of power. And the source of power must be a consciousness. Everyone say no'o no'o. Hanaho, no'o no'o. No'o no'o is an awareness, a consciousness. And to have that no'o no'o, to be aware of the source. Well, interesting enough, it means it's an inside job. Right? It's all inside. Not outside, but inside. That source is within us. And how do we find that? And how do we connect to that? What's that constant? To be able to say that I know who I am. I will always be my Father's son. Today, I happen to be a speaker. But I'll always be my parents' son. I will always be my daughter's father. I will always be my wife's husband. That's who I am. What I do, that's different. But who I am, that's another thing. And hopefully we can say we are always aloha. And it is in that aloha that the queen, Liliuokalani, stated this. And I want to just take a look at it, the yellow in particular. To gain the kingdom of heaven is to hear what is not said, see what cannot be seen. And here's the big one, to know the unknowable. To know the unknowable. That's powerful, right? I mean, who's going to walk, I know everything. I know the unknowable. That's a pretty bold statement. But I'd like to suggest what the queen was saying, and later what Pelahi was saying, by repeating what the queen said, was this. If you know the source, if you connect with the source, if you know God, you know the unknowable. Why? Because she is all-knowing. The power of aloha is to know the unknowable, to be connected to that thing greater than us. The spirit of aloha, it is a law. And aloha is broken down into those words. But the words are behaviors. That's not what's important. I mean, values on the left. What's important are the behaviors. How we behave, how we express the value is really the power of aloha. Not the words we use, but the actions that I engage in. That's the power. And what we also understand about this language is that when you utter the sounds of aloha, or you utter the sounds of Olelo Hawaii, you're calling upon the spirit, the energy in those words. In each letter, each sound, there is fire, air, earth, water, spirit. And anytime you utter those sounds with intention, you call forth those energies, those spirits. So the spirit of aloha is not just aloha, but the spirit of aloha. Let's take the first word. We won't go through all of them, just an example. Akahai, the value, akahai. This is to be expressed with kindness, right? It isn't necessarily kindness, it's the expression of kindness. Everyone say akahai. Mahalo. Now, let's take it a different way. When you break it down with spirit in mind, everyone say aka, ha, i, akahai. Akahai. Aka means shadow. It also means a string, like a web. It's what connects you and me, like a spider's web. But aka is also shadow and or mirror. So aka ha, the breath of life that comes from I am, the divine breath. Akaha'i says to mirror, to shadow, to be connected with the divine breath of God. Now imagine, if you live like that, how can you be anything but kind? Yeah? The kindness comes from within, just by following the breath, the spirit, and the essence of divinity. That's the power of aloha. And every single one of those words has that spirit built in. All we need to do is receive it. To give it and receive it. That's the power of aloha. Right? One thing I'd like to comment, I didn't say this earlier, but I think it's important. Many of us have been trying to teach people aloha. We want to teach aloha. What does that look like? Is it a handshake? All right. Yeah. 5 handshakes, 5 pats on the back, 10 smiles, 25 shakals. What is it? Those are behaviors, granted, but I'd like to suggest the spirit of aloha is not. Right? It's something else. In fact, how many of you remember the day when your grandmother made chocolate chip cookies? You guys like chocolate chip cookies? Peanut butter cookies? Whatever it is. Walk into the house and you smell the cookies. Go back to that moment right now. What's happening? Right? You walk in, it's like, ooh, cookies. Right? What's going on? Anyone? When you smell that, what's going on? Well, yeah, you feel good, right? All of the memories start popping up, right? I'd like to suggest that smell that's in the room, that's spirit. That's the aloha spirit. So where's the aloha? In the oven. Right? Aloha is the cookie. And the cookie's in the oven. But the spirit is floating around in the room. And whatever you bring to the room, it brings out of you, right? How do I know? Because I can go to Walmart or anybody and buy one box of chocolate chip cookies. No smell. Right? I won't have the same connection. The spirit's not there. We can manufacture cookies all day long, but we don't manufacture the smell. Right? The spirit. So the cautionary note is, let's not teach one another how to make aloha. But let's be aloha. Let's live aloha. And let's share aloha. Let's create the spirit So anytime I walk in the room, I don't have to eat the cookie to get the essence of who you are. Yeah. That's the power of Allah. And so mahalo to Auntie Pillai, because really what we're saying is there's a balance of these tensions. And I mentioned it earlier, transactions versus relationships, accounting versus accountability, belonging versus belongings, people versus things, right? Aloha is people. It's not these other things. At some point in time, it's about people. It's not the hale, it's not the house, it's not the building, it's not the truck, it's the people in it. And at some point in time, we must honor the people and our relationships. Not the transactions between those people, but the relationships, right? Because that's what counts. That's what gives us identity. At the end of the day, when the money is gone, the manna comes out, right? It's the manna, not the money. It's the relationships, not the transactions. And so aloha, the way of aloha is about that. It's recognizing that at some point in time, it's not about chasing any more mechanics. It's really about looking for deeper meaning. And I think most of us at this time are looking for meaningful relationships. Things that give us identity. So regardless of where we are in the world, we're never lost because we know where we belong. Right? The power of aloha will give us that opportunity. In fact, you can help me with it. There's a continental world thought. Finish it for me. I think. Yeah, that's right. So it's all a mind thing. I woke up this morning, thought I was 6'2". I am now that I'm standing on the box. But got in the car, I was like, no, not there yet. But I knew who I was. Because in Hawaii, the island worldview says, hey Hawaii, I am Hawaii. I am this place. She eats me, I eat her. The reciprocity agreement of my ancestors to my grandchildren. We are connected. We're all part of this together. We are all islanders because we live on the island called Earth. The reciprocity of giving and receiving, ha, in, ha, out, that's what it means. And so for us, it's not what I think that gives me belonging, but I belong, therefore I am. I know who I belong to. I know where I belong. I have a culture, a concept, a principle, a belief. Those things give me meaning. I may be somewhere in the world, don't know where I am, but I know where I belong. Consequently, I'm not lost. That internal compass of aloha that helps us understand, to create a safe place. Aloha is a place where people can be authentic, creative, enabling others, but more above all, to be safe. Are we safe? Can you find a safe place inside you? Because if you're safe, others will find sanctuary with you. A safe man is a safe family. A safe family is a safe home. A safe home is a safe community. Our objective is to find safety. And in safety, we find creativity. We find empowerment. We find health. This is the power of aloha, the way of aloha. But in order to find that, we have to have trust. Trust in ourselves, trust in one another, and trust in those that we walk the roads with. Can we find that trust? And interesting enough, when you take the word trust, underlying all that is about being truthful. What is true? Can I believe it? When you say it, can I believe it? I mean what I say what I mean. The word for true or truth is oya i'o. Everyone say oya i'o. Hanoho, oya i'o. Yeah, see, oya i'o is a palindrome, English term, Hawaiian word, right? Oya i'o. Look, either way, it's the same word, yeah? Just like Bob, Dad, Mom, right? Constant. True means when I'm in the room with you, you can trust that what I say about you now is what I say about you out there. That's trust, not something else. Like oya i'o is true in, true out, right? My outside is my inside. The other word for that? Integrity. Simple, right? Do we have integrity? And do I have the unity of mind and heart that allows me to have the integrity that allows you to trust me? Right? That's the way of aloha. Aloha. Aloha, however, is not always warm and fuzzy. Oftentimes we think, oh, aloha says, yeah, step on my toe. That's fine. Aloha, thank you. Hit me in the head. Oh, mahalo, thank you for that. Aloha, right? No. There are consequences to poor behavior, right? Don't mistake kindness or patience for weakness, right? Aloha is much larger than that. If I see a child running in the street, I'll have to go and grab them. It may look rough, but it'll be rough if I don't, right? Aloha means that we need to know there are consequences for our behavior. And if you don't act properly, you will need to live up to those consequences. So the way of aloha is about balance. It's not just always being, hi, hello, how are you? But sometimes it means putting your foot down and says, we teach people how to treat us, and that just hurt, right? Aloha you, aloha me. That's the power of aloha, is to be able to say that we agree to disagree without being disagreeable. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. So in the end, what it comes down to is how do we measure what that looks like? When we shift the metrics of a world and success than the ones that we do today, which may be strictly about money, right? Is there another way? I'd suggest this. When my grandmother, I'd go to her house, I'd knock on the door, I hear her in the back, "Hooey, my, come inside." When I walked in the door, she never asked me how I was. She always asked me, "You hungry? Did you eat? Sit down." Right? 2 hours later, she's asking me, "Are you hungry? You want some more?" No. I'm done. Piha. She goes, "Okay, you sure?" "Yeah." "Take some home with you." Always giving, always extending, because it wasn't about her. It was about those she fed. So imagine if we lived in a world where our new metric asked a different question. Did you eat today? Did everyone eat today? Is everyone full? Is everyone satisfied? Is everyone housed? Is everyone jobbed? Whatever. If the answer is yes, maybe we've adopted principles and practices of aloha that says the highest order is for people to be whole, to be full, right? To be loved and to belong. What the power of that? Who doesn't want to live in a world like that, right? And yet to have enough aloha to recognize that even in a world without it, we can still try. We can still help others get there. That's the way of aloha. So our next steps really to say thank you again for allowing me to be here and to share with you and to feel your aloha is really this. Live aloha, share aloha, and be aloha. And by all means, be grateful that we have it. Aloha, 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 mahalo, mahalo, mahalo. Thank you. Ahui o, mahalo. Thank you.
It's easy to love somebody who's always wearing a smile. But when somebody steps on your toes, you know it's hard to go that extra mile. But if we want to live a really happy life, we need a lot more peace and a lot less strife. We need to love everybody in the world. We need to love all our sisters and our brothers. Learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet, and let our light shine on when we're walking down the street. Love everybody in the world. You see, if I love my neighbor like I love myself, well, maybe just a bit of my neighbor's love will spill over onto someone else. 'Cause love is like bamboo, so be and to that end. You know it tastes good when you share them with a friend. Share love all over the world. We need to love all our sisters and our brothers. Learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet, and let aloha shine on when we're walking down the street. Love everybody in the world. We need to love all our sisters and our brothers. Learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet, and let aloha shine on when we're walking down the street. Love everybody in the world. We need to love everybody. Love everybody. We need to love everybody in the
Wow. Kumu Ramsay, Guy Marola, Aletha in the band. Wow. I need to get my breath. Where's the oxygen? Well, this is a great, another, speaking of all of that, this is another fun time of our service. This is the offertory. And for us to continue to belong to a community, to be a part of a community that is transforming lives and inspiring others inspiring everyone to be a positive difference in the world, this is how that gets done. And there's a big difference in giving and expecting something. You give expecting, you don't get what you expect. However, if you give not expecting, but knowing, it comes back in ways that are beyond your understanding. The law of circulation, folks. Let's launch the bugger. So please take your tithe, your love offering, let's place it on our heart, and let's together speak blessing offering together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, and all the good I give and receive. Thank you, God, and thank each of you.
The Spirit is here and the power is real.
Oh, yeah.
Anything can happen and it probably will. Something very good, something good is going on around here.
There's a light that shines to make your dark disappear. Power of the word, but there's nothing to fear.
That's right.
Something very good, something good is going on around here. This is a church on fire. This is a Holy Spirit place. We have a burning desire to live in God's holy name. Let the fire burn in every heart, to light the way, defeat the dark. Let the flame of love burn higher. This is a church on fire. The Spirit is here and the power is real. Anything can happen and it probably will.
Sure will.
Something very good, something good is going on around here.
There's a light that shines and makes the dark disappear. Power of the word, but there's nothing to fear. Something very good, something good is going on around here.
Oh yeah, it's hot. This is a church on fire. This is a Holy Spirit place. We have a burning desire to live in God's holy name. Let the fire burn in every heart, to light the way, defeat the dark. Let the flame of love burn higher. This is a church on fire. Oh, sing it with us. This is a church on fire. This is a Holy Spirit place. We have a burning desire to live in God's holy name. Let the fire burn in every heart, to light the way, defeat the dark. Let the flame of love burn higher. This is a church on fire. Something very good, something good is going on around here. Something very good, something good is going on around here. Something very good, something good is going on around
All right. Woo. Okay, a church on fire. Woo. Okay, yeah, it's pretty hot in here. That's right. Okay. So as we just give thanks to these offerings, these blessings to this community, we know that the source is within us, that aloha is within us, is us. And we gave in just wonderful knowing that since God is our source and supply, that our well is never dry, that it goes on to prosper this community, ways seen and unseen, known and unknown, that it reaches far beyond and comes back to us with wonderful generosity as well. And for this, we give thanks. And so we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. It can be no other way. Amen. All right. And thank you, Kumu Ramsay, for that wonderful Aloha message. Great message. So mahalo for blessing us with that today. And thank you to Alethea, the band, Guy, Reverend Levitt, Greg in the back, everybody that makes this Zamar, this beautiful service happen each and every week. Reverend Denise will be back next Sunday to continue on the Eye of the Storm series. So I know that all the book studies are going well. And just thanks to each and every one of you for saying yes to this community each and every week. And so now I also invite up our chaplains to come to the front. If you have a prayer that is on your heart, you would like prayer support, our chaplains are here willing and waiting to hold the high watch with you. So please see Mary after service today if you would like a prayer or to be prayed with. And now I invite each one of us to stand to rise as we sing the peace song and Aloha Oi.